Good evening, Tallahassee. We have a interesting show to talk about tonight, but first a live look at Doak Campbell Stadium. I'm not sure which way this camera is pointed because it wasn't this cloudy when I walked here, but maybe some more clouds have come in ahead of the storms. However, it is still hot, 89 degrees under partly cloudy conditions. This is not the type of weather you want to be walking around in because you will start sweating immediately. Tallahassee, we're currently almost at 90 degrees, only a degree off. Monticello's at 92. Bainbridge is at 92. Unless you're right along the coast, you don't have much in the way of relief right now. And as you look at your future radar, that line of storms currently doesn't look like it'll get here, but it's going to be close, so definitely keep an eye to the sky this evening just in case. As we look into tomorrow, it's going to be a drier day tomorrow, and tonight it's going to get down to about 74 degrees. So it's going to be a pretty warm night like it normally is, but for tonight's headlines, we're going to talk about some onions getting washed away. We're going to talk about the spotlight city of Ocala and a local look around the Big Bend.
Thank you for that, Nico. Hi, I'm student meteorologist Chandler Pruitt.
And I'm student meteorologist Oceana Hayden.
Thank you guys for watching this Wednesday, edition of FSU Weather. We're finally to hump day. How's your week been so far?
It's been a really warm week for me, especially I've been walking to class, and I swear it's been a lot warmer this week than even last week.
Yes, and part of that probably is because of the humidity, man. It's been up there in the 70s, and for people that might not be meteorology majors like us, 70s, really muggy. So 70-degree dew points and then 90-degree temperatures. Oof,
I'm
toasty.
not a big fan. Yeah, those dew points being so high has honestly made such a big difference. I felt today literally water on my skin as I was walking, not even before I had been sweating yet. It was too warm for me personally, even though I'm from South Florida.
You're not roasting, you're more like boiling. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, that is kind of the name of the game here at Tallahassee in September. But we're maybe going to get a cool down, right? Maybe.
I hope so.
Hopefully.
So.
But to break down more about the local weather, we're going to toss things back over to Nico at the wall.
Thank you, Chandler and Oceana. Yeah, we do have a lot of weather to talk about tonight. First, we have our clouds. It hasn't changed much in the past 2 minutes, obviously, but it is still warm, and you're going to have to plan for this evening because it's warm, it's humid, it's still kind of summer-like in Florida, so if you don't want to sweat, you need to dress very warm, dress for warm clothes, like basically you don't want to sweat. But look at our high, 93 degrees. Only 6 degrees off from the record. At least we didn't hit 99, but we're still above average. We've been consistently above average in the high temperatures. The low was 1 degree below normal, but part of that is because yesterday the rain caused the temperature to be lower, so we already started at a lower temperature, and we were obviously nowhere near that record low, 57. Our current temperatures area-wide, they're a little bit cooler. They've updated in the past couple minutes, no longer in the 90s, but 89 is still pretty close to 90 degrees. It's still going to feel very warm this evening if you're out and about. Further southeast, Perry is also at 89, so it's going to feel pretty warm down there too. Apalachicola, you've gotten a sea breeze, so you're at 85 right now. And as you look at your current radar around the entire southeast, you're seeing showers and storms. Your strongest storms right now are in southern Georgia. So if you know any friends and family out in southern Georgia, maybe tell them to stay indoors. Same thing for parts of Mississippi and Louisiana. You're also having some showers and storms right around this evening. More locally, we're looking at this line of storms near the Georgia, Florida, Alabama border. It does appear to be weakening. The stronger storms are headed towards rural southwestern Georgia, north of Thomasville. So if you know anyone north of Thomasville, if you know anyone out in that area, that's going to be your area of concern for this evening. For the most part is what it's looking like. So that's going to be where you want to watch, and as you see the storms do weaken as they get closer to us. And then tomorrow there's going to be less moisture. Your higher threat of storms tomorrow is going to be interior southern Georgia up here over the swampy areas of Okefenokee. So if anyone's going out there tomorrow, definitely stay weather aware. Looking at your rainfall forecast though, after a drier day tomorrow, we have 1/2 inch of rain expected between now and Saturday night. Most of this will likely come on Friday, which is expected to be our most active weather day of the week, so keep that in mind when you're planning outdoor activities. Friday could be a wet day. Looking at tonight though, it should be pretty clear. We'll have clouds, but it shouldn't rain tonight, so you're going to be dry if you're going to be outside. Looking at your dog walk forecast, though, your best time to do it is going to be as early in the day as you can. 73 at 7 a.m., but we're getting up to 85 degrees by 11. Taking a look at your week ahead, though, you can see how Friday is going to be your most active day. It does cool off a bit, but not as much as we originally expected, as we expect another active day on Sunday. We still expect some showers and storms on the other days. Friday and Sunday are the days with the highest chance, so keep that in mind when you are planning things. But now I'm going to pass things off to Oceana.
Thank you, Nico. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the entire state of Florida. Over here in Tallahassee right now, we are at 89 degrees, but we are all in the 90s all the way over here towards the peninsula of Florida. Down in Key West, 92. Miami's sitting just below 90 at 88. So it's still pretty warm all around the state. As far as rain is concerned, really not too much going on. As of right now, just some spotty showers over here on the East Coast, but still looking pretty dry as of right now, but don't get used to that. There is going to be some rain in the future. Right here, as you can see, we have up to 1.5 inches of rain at the end of our 72-hour rainfall forecast in the peninsula of Florida. On the Panhandle, though, we are looking pretty dry as in comparison to the rest of the peninsula, but still expect some rain all across the state of Florida. Here in Miami, we do have a little bit of cloudy skies, but honestly, it's looking pretty blue skied right now, which again, take advantage of that. Take advantage of this nice weather you're having here in Miami, as honestly, as this says, it's going to be rainy end of the week. We have 70% chance of rain on Thursday and only 20% on Saturday, but still expect some scattered showers. Lows in the low 70s, which is kind of a nice break as far as all of that heat that we have had lately, but honestly, still expect some rain. In Tampa over here, same forecast. It's going to be quite warm, staying in the 90s over here for Tampa, but still those rain chances remain high for the Tampa area. And moving into Orlando, again, very similar. We have 91, 90, 87 on Saturday. Still, these rain chances are persisting. This is a trend you're going to see on tonight's show. There's a lot of rain coming for Florida, so keep an eye out for that. Jacksonville, very similar, 89 on Thursday, but it will get a little lower on Friday at 83, but again, those thunderstorms, bring an umbrella in these next 3 days if you get anything from this forecast. As far as Pensacola looks, it's looking nice and a little bit cloudy, but blue skies. Beautiful day in Pensacola right now. And for the rainfall forecast, again, we are looking very rainy and wet over here. Even on the farthest area of the Panhandle, this whole area is going to be rainy. 72 in Tallahassee for tonight as our low, kind of nice. And in Tampa, 79. And for tomorrow, we are looking at 92 in Tallahassee, very warm. Bring your umbrella if you're going to class, but all across the state of Florida, that rain is going to persist. I'm going to hand it over to Chandler to talk about some flooding.
That's right, yeah, so Sunshine State here in Florida, but now we're going to move up to the raininess of the Northeast. First, starting off with the Northeast radar, we have ourselves this cold front that's starting to push its way through. You noticed those temperatures drop off in Jacksonville, and the part of that reason is because this cold front right here is a little bit farther west as you go further south. That's a little bit of a tongue twister, but basically as you go farther south, it bends back towards the west. But here it's already starting to arch its way through the Northeast, causing these showers, and we even have a tornado warning in southern Massachusetts. So that is actually something to keep an eye on if you are up in the Northeast at the moment. There is a decent amount of rain, and it's actually kind of training. What we call training is basically just storms that are kind of in a line that kind of just continue to move in the same direction and develop behind each other. And we also kind of see, though, that west to east transition, that direction. So we expect that these storms will eventually roll out as they make their way towards the Atlantic Ocean. But we'll see that kind of, even though we see that happen, we're also going to see another rainmaker off the coast. But we also have the drought down here near the Mid-Atlantic, or in the Mid-Atlantic near Washington. But here in the Northeast, they don't really have much in the way of a drought. So this rain is actually kind of not like going to help in a certain circumstance. Like they will at least have some rain, of course, but you know, if they have a drought, that would have been nice to bust that. But They do have nice, beautiful clouds rolling through the area. Of course, if you're a meteorologist, you would say they're beautiful. But we also, again, emphasizing that tornado warning in southern Massachusetts. Make sure that you are keeping an eye on that if you are in the area. Instability, that's what it's feeding on. Instability just means that we have a lot of energy in the air, and so these storms are trying to develop using that energy in the Massachusetts, southern New England area. Those current temperatures, again, they're nice and cool because they're behind the cold front. We see all these 60s and 70s, so pretty nice overall. As for that 24-hour rainfall forecast, again, mostly just in the New England area, southern New England and also Maine. As for our future radar, we see some showers roll through the New England area, and then we start to see our rainmaker coming through, and that is Hurricane Lee. We'll possibly add a little bit of rain to the northeast, but that is another story to tell. But Nico, I'll hand it now off to you.
Yes, thank you, Chandler. We're definitely going to have to watch for our friends and family up in the Northeast over the next few days because that hurricane is only going to add to the flooding situation they're already going to have there. But looking nationally, temperatures for most of the country actually look pretty nice. The only problem is once we get down to here in Florida, it's hot and humid, so it's still not nice here yet. We still have to wait probably another couple weeks or so before the hot, muggy air, as you can see, 75-degree dew point here in Tallahassee gets here, but you can see parts of the Midwest, parts of the upper plains, and especially in the west where it normally is dry. You have much drier air right now in those parts of the country. And looking area-wide, you can see high pressure dominating much of the central country right now, and that's where you have your drier air at the moment too. Out in the west, you have multiple fronts out here, and you're seeing showers and storms in the mountainous areas out in the west right now. And then you have your stalled out front down here in the southeast, and you see your showers and storms ahead of it yet again for another day, and your low up here. That low is going to end up dragging Hurricane Lee up into the northeast area. It's going to hit Canada, but you're still going to see impacts up in the northeast, so that's something to keep an eye on the next couple days. And looking at your water vapor, you can easily see where these features are. You can see your low pressure spinning around up here. It was way back here yesterday over the Great Lakes. Now it's moved over to the eastern Great Lakes, and parts of the northeast are in it now. And you can see the line of storms ahead of it. You can easily see all the storms popping out up in the west too, as well, in this water vapor map. So that's definitely something to pay attention to if you're going to be in the darker areas. You're going to see some more storms. You can see your marginal risk of severe storms in parts of the southwest. This area is seeing some of their monsoons, even though it is typically desert-like. And then you have your general thunderstorms that you typically get every afternoon in the southeast, that some of these could become severe ahead of the front as they hit the sea breeze along the Atlantic coast this evening. So if you know people, coastal Georgia, coastal South Carolina, coastal North Carolina, definitely make sure they stay weather aware this evening. This graphic is not working, so I'm going to skip it. And then your drought monitor, Texas, southern Texas is going to need some rain, but you're going to see in the next slide that they're luckily going to get some rain. And here's where you can see they're getting a lot of rain over Texas. This is exactly where we need it right now. The only problem is another area that's seeing a lot of rain is up in the northeast where they absolutely don't need it. Florida, you're seeing quite a bit of rain too along the sea breeze for the most part. Friday does look like it could be a wet day especially, so keep that in mind as you make your plans over the next few days. But looking at tonight's temperatures countrywide, 72 degrees here in Tallahassee, almost 80 degrees in Miami and Tampa. That is very warm for the nighttime. You've got storms out in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they're going to hit 59 tonight. And you can see even your cooler area is only about 51 degrees, so nowhere is especially cold tonight. We're not too far out, though, from seeing really cold temperatures up in that part of the country. As you look at tomorrow, though, most of the country is pretty nice. Again, similar story to today. You do have some storms in Denver around 73 degrees. And then another area where you're going to see those showers and storms is across the southeastern United States. Atlanta and New Orleans, you're likely going to have an afternoon storm tomorrow too. Same thing as today. You're going to have those pop-up storms. You're going to have that stalled out front, and it's going to be warm. Here in Tallahassee, we might be in a little bit of a dry pocket. It's going to be about 92 degrees, but we should still watch the sky. Miami's also going to be about 92 degrees. So if you're anywhere in Florida, pay attention to the weather tomorrow afternoon. But now I'm going to pass things off to the desk with Chandler.
So, I know we all have smelled them before, and probably some of us have chopped them up before, maybe cried a few tears as we chopped them up. Today's weather story is about onions. I know that's a little bit random, but the onions story that we're going to talk about actually is about the floods and how a flooding situation can impact agriculture. That is a huge story that we normally don't really think about. We think about the lives that floods can take, but floods can also have major impacts on agriculture. And one of those is this story that we have for you. We had heavy rainfall and thunderstorms that were affecting the northeast, on September 13th, 1987. Sounds eerily similar to today, a little bit at least. Although we're probably not seeing as heavy of rain right now as what they were seeing. Because the reason why I say that is Greenwood, New York received 6.37 inches of rain, which is quite a lot, and that was a lot of flooding, or a lot of rain caused flooding in parts of Vermont, New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. A flood barrier along a creek gave way, and $2 million of crops of onions got washed away. Just for inflation, that was actually $5 million. And you can see here what it looks like. That's a lot of onions, man. I mean, come on. If you're up in the Northeast and you're trying to cook dinner with some onions, I know a lot of people love to throw onions in almost every single dish because they're pretty good and they complement most dishes. I wouldn't know because I don't like the texture of onions. But they're still very useful, and of course, if you have one of these major situations, you start to see onions, or you start to see maybe prices for onions increase and impacts to agriculture in general. But flood safety tips. So this is a good reminder, of course, as we continue on into the rainy season of the fall for some places in the United States. Know your risk and assemble an emergency kit and follow evacuation orders. So if you are in an area that can flood very easily, know where to leave and head to. Avoid floodwaters where possible and get to higher ground, and stay informed with official updates and contact loved ones, of course. So that is something that I suggest you guys brush up on in case you do see yourself in one of those situations. But for now, we'll toss things back over to the desk to talk about Jacksonville.
Chandler, for that fun story about the onion massacre, not massacre, but honestly, I think I've never heard that story ever before, so it's really interesting and also great reminder to brush up on what to do if there is a flood in your area. And now I'm going to talk about Ocala, Florida, which is a city where there are a lot of horses, and I am an ex-equestrian myself, so I know a lot about this city. It is 79 and partly cloudy here in Ocala, so it is looking nice right now, partly cloudy, which means it's not raining just yet. But like I said earlier, there is a lot of rain to be expected in the coming days, even for Ocala. So as far as our record, it was 97 in 1991 in Ocala today. So that was a real scorcher, and honestly, I'm very thankful that that was not actually today, just 30 years ago. As far as the low, it was 67, so it's definitely a lot lower than what you saw today in Ocala, but overall we are sitting around just average here in this city. As far as future radar, it just looks like a bunch of clouds coming through tonight. There are a few scattered showers, as you could see, but really nothing too crazy as of right now. For the weekend ahead, though, Thursday and Friday are the days to look out for, especially coming closer to the weekend. It's going to be 60% chance of rain on Thursday and Friday and 70% on Saturday and Sunday. So it is going to be quite a rainy weekend. So definitely prepare for that. Bring your umbrellas, bring your raincoats out. This is going to be a washout of a weekend for the entire state of Florida, as I mentioned. So definitely keep an eye out on that. As far as our low temperature Sunday, we are going to see a low of 70, which is honestly really nice, I would say, but unfortunately it will be rainy. Our highs still sitting in the upper 80s, Thursday 91, so it is going to be quite warm this weekend. As far as Saturday, the first day of the weekend goes, it is going to be 87, so it's going to be quite warm, but really that rain should keep you inside. There's chances of thunderstorms, which are dangerous. Again, definitely wash up on, or catch up on those skills on keeping yourself safe during thunderstorms, floods, all of the above. Honestly, these are all things to look out for. Now I'm going to pass it on over to the next segment.
Yes, thank you. Those are definitely going to be things to watch out for. It is a typical summer pattern, so you know how to do that in the afternoons in Florida. But let's look around our local area at our lifestyle forecast now. We've got some clouds that have obviously rolled in recently, which is going to hopefully keep the temperatures down a little bit because that's definitely going to feel nice. I've been out and about today, and it was hot and humid. This line of storms, as expected, appears to be weakening for the most part. I don't expect it to get to Tallahassee, but keep an eye to the sky. We may see some light showers. As you look up here, though, into Georgia, that's where you have your stronger storms. So if you're going to be living between Thomasville and Albany, or you know anyone traveling up there this evening, that's where you have your higher chance of seeing some stronger storms and heavier downpours this evening. You can see that on the future radar as well. You do have a higher chance of storms up in that area. Tomorrow we may have some passing clouds, but for the most part, it's going to stay relatively dry. It is still going to be warm. It's still going to be humid, so you can't completely rule out a chance of afternoon storms, but it does look like the least active day of the week for storms as of what I'm seeing right now. So looking at your library forecast, it's not going to be 89 degrees in the library, luckily, but if you're going to be walking there to study, be prepared to sweat on the way there, and hopefully you can bring a cool drink because that doesn't sound very nice to walk around in, but at least the library itself is air conditioned so you can go enjoy studying inside, just maybe not on the tables outside. And if you're going to be walking around, maybe you should wear something that's going to be cool because it's going to be warm and humid this evening. So I wouldn't suggest wearing black actually. I would say wear something lighter colored because it's going to be warm and humid and you want to not absorb heat. But looking at your stargazing forecast for tonight, it's pretty much a half moon, just slightly more than half. We're going to have fair viewing conditions. We may have a few clouds that block out the moon, but it should clear out for the most part as we head into tonight. So you should be able to see it if you want to see it. Looking at your airport right now, Tallahassee Airport, we have no delays, nothing like yesterday in the way with all the storms. So if you're going to be flying out of Tallahassee tonight or flying into Tallahassee, picking anyone up, they shouldn't be delayed unless they're coming from one of those areas in the northeast where you were seeing the severe storms earlier today. And you can look countrywide, pretty much everyone is in the green right now. So unless you're coming from like Boston, you're probably going to be fine this evening because most of the country right now, it's nice, it's dry, and nothing too significant. If you're going to be going out tomorrow, though, to go drive around, you can see slight increase in the chance of storms tomorrow afternoon. Temperature increases a lot, so you may want to run the air conditioning while you're driving around town too, because 89 degrees is pretty hot. So definitely not a day to keep the windows open. It's going to be hot, it's going to be humid, and you're going to feel that if you're driving around, but you shouldn't have to hit any slick roadways. Definitely pay more attention as we head into Friday with that, though. But now I'm going to pass things off to Chandler.
Thank you for that, Nico. And of course, to round it out, we're going to go back to the view of Doak Campbell Stadium, which was rocking on Saturday when we expected it will be rocking all season long. But beautiful weather. We have some clouds, of course, but you like to see the nice cotton candy clouds as the sun is setting. But of course, we'll continue to watch and see if those rain showers make their way through the Big Bend region and see what that means for here in Tallahassee this evening. Partly cloudy skies again with winds out of the north at 5 miles an hour, but we're still quite warm at 88 degrees, even though we have those clouds. But those clouds are pretty much everywhere. Sportsplex has the clouds, as well as even St. George Island all the way down there near the Gulf, or on the Gulf. But we also see those showers that actually were produced, or those clouds that were actually producing showers at Panama City. And then we have Lake Bradford, which is also seeing some of those cloudy skies as well. Local radar again shows these line of showers sweeping across the area, coming towards Panama City and going along I-10. But will they make it here? We'll have to talk about that here in a sec. But current temperatures, 89 degrees, like I said. Going further north towards those showers, you start to see a little bit of a cool down, 82 degrees in Quincy, and then 84 degrees in Thomasville. But it's still quite warm. We'll see temperatures start to make their way down to the low 70s by this evening. So that is something to look forward to whenever you're waking up in the morning. But as far as those showers, again, we're going to see them kind of die off as they make their way towards Tallahassee. And we'll continue to see kind of clear skies throughout the morning with a few clouds rolling through the area. But then come this evening, or come tomorrow evening, we actually don't expect those same rounds of showers like we're seeing today in places like Vernon and Dothan. But we'll see clear skies here, but also some rainy showers over there by I-75, Waycross, Lake City. You guys will probably see some showers come tomorrow afternoon. As far as tomorrow's forecast, though, we're going to see beautiful weather, nice temperatures in the 80s and 90s, but the trick is you also have dew points that are also in the 70s, so quite muggy and humid overall. As far as the air quality forecast, we do see nice air quality as well, but let's go ahead and talk about the week ahead. We have Thursday into Friday and Saturday and Sunday, a decent amount of showers in the area, so that is something to be concerned about, but it's going to also be pretty nice temperature-wise once we get past Thursday. We'll get down into the mid-80s, so overall pretty enjoyable conditions. Once we get towards Monday and into the rest of into the beginning of next week, we'll actually start to see sunshine plus 80 degrees, so that will be nice added bonus. But now I'm going to toss things back over to the desk to wrap up the show.
Thank you for that, Chandler. Yeah, it's going to be a week to definitely keep an eye to the sky, especially the next few days with those afternoon storms continuing with that weather pattern.
Yeah, definitely. This rain is definitely not something to play around with. There's going to be a lot of thunderstorms in the coming days for the entire state of Florida. Hopefully not an onion washout, but honestly, it is going to be really rainy, so hopefully it'll cool us off a little bit from these really warm days that we've been having.
Yeah, I hope so too. It's definitely been very warm. You shouldn't see much to be able to completely flood it, but you never know if something does stall on the sea breeze or with the boundary, so keep your eyes to the sky this weekend for sure.
Yeah, definitely always keep a lookout. Again, like Chandler had mentioned in his segment, definitely brush up on some of your flooding, safety advice, look at all of that, really understand what to do in case of emergency, just for future reference as always, and hopefully our walks to class will be a little bit cooler in the coming days.
Yeah, we're not too far out from that. Within a couple weeks, we usually start seeing our first strong cold fronts. But if you're going to be out driving around, definitely make sure to pay attention to where there's water. If you're walking to class, turn around, don't drown, pay attention to the rain because you don't want to get stuck in floodwaters.
Yeah, definitely not. That's definitely not something to play around with. And yes, as he said, if you're driving around, if you're walking around, bring that umbrella this week and always try to stay in shelter when there's lightning, of course. It's definitely something to look out for.
Yeah, it definitely is. We are expecting a lot of lightning with these storms the next few days as well. So it tends to be pretty much similar to yesterday, especially as we head into Friday and the weekend. So if you have your outdoor plans, make sure to have a backup plan. But you can always follow us on Twitter at www.twitter.com/FSU Weather.
Yep, and make sure to like us on Facebook at FSU Weather.
And you can watch us live on YouTube at www.youtube.com/FSU Weather like you are right now.
And follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather as well.
Yeah, you definitely can send us photos anywhere too if you want us to see them. That would definitely be cool. And also follow us on TikTok at FSU Weather as well. But now we're going to leave you with one last look at your 7-day forecast.